Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Hey Joe, What You Know. Delighted we've got Curly Kirtland here today with me. Curly's a football presenter, used to be on Soccer AM as a presenter. Now you're sort of going it alone as a freelancer. Got your own channel called Location Football. Welcome to the show, Curly. How are you doing, mate?
Oh, thanks for having me on. I'm doing really well, thank you. The sun's shining and there's plenty of football to watch, so yeah, can't complain at the minute.
Yeah, just tell us a bit about what you're up to. I know you started at Soccer AM, and then obviously that show went on to Social now, and then I'm guessing that's what bore out the location football and the work that you do with the Zone at the moment as well.
Yeah, so as you said, I was on Soccer AM for 16 years, so started doing that. How old was I now? I must have been 15, no, 16, 17, going into working environment at Sky Sports. Did it off my own back. Was as a young lad, just loved the show, wanted to be a part of it, and emailed in about doing work experience. So I did that for a couple of weeks, and then I said to the guy that was there, "Look, can I help out every week? I'll do it for free." So I did that for a year, and then my soccer AM journey took me from making teas, making props, to producing shoots, editing shoots, and then becoming the social media presenter for the last 5 years of when the show was in existence. So I really found a passion for the YouTube and social media, and that different style of presenting that was sort of coming to fruition. Um, so yeah, so I spent 5 years whilst doing all my main stuff for Soccer AM, building their profile online, after show shoots, Facebook lives, all that sort of stuff. That was really good fun. But going away and producing it, presenting it, and editing it myself, so sort of learned as many skills as I could, for the day that when Soccer AM did eventually decide to call it a day, I had enough skills in my locker to then go out and hit the freelance world. As you said, Saturday Social took over, or it was already in place for Soccer Aim. It wasn't a like for like swap, but yeah, I found myself after Soccer AM moving into the freelance world, not really sure how it was all going to pan out. I'd been approached by Ipswich Town Football Club, who were in the Championship at the time, to be one of their main presenters for their new in-house town TV production, which you see a lot of these days in the footballing world, with these teams making their own match day stuff. So I was really privileged to be given that task, which was really exciting. I was fronting a new show for them, which was great, and obviously the season that Ipswich went on to have, making it back-to-back promotions, was unbelievable. And I'm still doing that for Ipswich in the Premier League now, which is fantastic. So yeah, during my time at Soccer Aim, you touched on it there. Me and Scott Lavelle, who also used to work on the show back in the day, he now owns his own production company, Social Ball Media. We have a passion for lower league football, so we wanted to make some YouTube content. We didn't know how it was going to look, what it was going to be like, but we knew it was going to be in non-league. And yeah, we started just after COVID. We were just bouncing around grounds, making videos. There was no real structure to it. There was just going there, what do these clubs have? And our initial idea, or my initial idea was, which is what we called location, was at football grounds. And we were doing this sort of spoof, this is what this club has to offer sort
Yeah,
of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And that's where the name sort of location football came from, because we were just going to different grounds within football, and it just sort of became location football. And then through our experience in social media and learning, we've just been navigating ways of improving our content. And only recently, in the last maybe 12 months, we've seen a real spike in what we do and what we produce. And we sort of try to take everything we learn at Sky Sports and put that into YouTube content without making it too polished, because that's not what YouTube's about. And then yeah, it's grown from strength to strength. We've now amassed over 27,000 subscribers, and we've got a TikTok account with 24,000, which is great for non-league, considering how niche it is. Um, so that's been building really nicely. And then what happened there is I've sort of become synonymous with lower league football, National League North South, and DAZN approached me. We had a conversation at the start of the season about when they took the rights over, and now I find myself presenting the match day coverage for DAZN, and also film a weekly podcast called National League 72, and we film multi-match live games for midweek games on specific weeks. So for example, the recording of this video tomorrow, I'm filming three games. It's down at the bottom of the table, and I think Rochdale are playing as well. And I'll do that with Aaron McLean, and we'll have a guest tomorrow who I'm not sure it is yet. But yeah, it's very busy. You never know with freelance world what it's going to look like. But I'm super grateful that I've been able to move and transition into something that I love, non-league football, and we've worked with the Premier League for non-league football, the FA. We have a brand deal with Isuzu. We've been covering the trophy and vase, so it's all very exciting, and it's an absolute joy to be able to be working inside um, the lower leagues and it to be a job because it doesn't feel like a job because I just love it so much.
Yeah, it's great, and I love that. I've got Faversham Town over the road from me, a few steps down from the National League, but yeah, National League's where it's at. I remember when I
Yeah.
first started out, and I had a mate. I did teaching at uni and hated it, and then I went and did a BJTC in Liverpool at Radio City, and then one of my friends from uni, Dan Van der Molen, his name. We used to go down to Carl Shelton and just like practice. And then we got into Palace, and then we met. Long story short, When Eagles Dare, which is now on Amazon Prime, we did the bulk of the filming for that when Palace got promoted to the Premier League with Watford back in the day. We had the film documentary ready to go out. We had a lot of offers from broadcasters, and then Steve Parish didn't give us the final sign off. So we sort of sat on it for about 6 or 7 years, and then we reapproached the club, and they had a guy called James Woodruff, who was head of media. He was like, "Where's this been hiding?" It's like, "Well, yeah, yeah." And then we sold him the footage, and we sort of had a bit of a hand in what it is now. But yeah, we were like pretty much fresh out of uni. We sort of stumbled on the opportunity to do that with Palace, and we had some great experiences. Like we were there when they beat Brighton. We were there most home games, doing all behind the scenes with the club. We went to Imola with Steve Parish. We did some sort of Formula Ford racing uh, either side of the playoff weekends. So we like Crystal Palace first leg Friday night at Selhurst, on the plane to Italy, Imola the next morning, filmed for 2 days, then back Brighton on the Tuesday night, I think it was. It was crazy. Um, but yeah, it's just taking those opportunities, like you say, and what's Aaron McLean's he's a seasoned pro, let's say, isn't he? And he's a real character. And I suppose you've worked with a lot of characters over the years at Soccer AM. Who are the sort of characters that stand out for you that you've worked with so far?
Yeah, like you say, there's plenty of characters over the years. Erin, who I'm working with now, we have a really good dynamic relationship where I met Erin a few times on at Soccer AM and through Sky Sports. Obviously, done a lot of punditry over the years, and it was a really nice mix when we come together. And that's what I think the zone we're looking for, to build a partnership where we can bounce off each other, we can give each other a little dig here and there, and have a bit of playful banter, which works really well, and that comes across on the screen. So he's obviously a character in that sense that we work well together now. Obviously, the obvious one is Jimmy Bullard over the years. He's obviously a good mate of mine now and worked with him for 7 or 8 years and just a different kettle of fish. He was an absolute dream to work with at times and could be an absolute nightmare. But that was Jimmy, and you took the rough with the smooth. And but whatever he did it with 100%, and he was always great value, and I always enjoyed going out and filming with him on location, different football grounds, and we'd go from to Premier League clubs down to League Two grounds, and you'd still get the same Jimmy at each one. So working with him is a real different type of character. Tubes is another one who's a really good friend of mine and became a close mate since our journey there. Obviously, known him for over 16 years. Not as eccentric as Jimmy, but one of those people that is just absolutely brilliant, loves his football,
Yeah.
and you can talk to him about anything. And that's the thing when you're in that environment at Soccer AM, it's like being in a football changing room. You see your teammates week in, week out. You're all gearing towards that Saturday 10:30 kickoff for the show to go on air, and you spend more time with them than you do with your family, with your partner, with your kids if you've got them. So you build really close bonds and connections, and he's someone that I've looked up to for many years, and then to work with him for so long and to be a class him as a friend um, means a lot as well. And then going back to other characters, we did some filming with David Bentley.
Yeah.
I did some YouTube videos with David Bentley, and obviously he just had that video that went round at Cheltenham where he was just causing all sorts of problems, dancing away and having a great time. So he was a character. But again, another one, really authentic, really genuine, brilliant person. Just a real good laugh to be around, and that was the beauty of Soccer M. We had a lot of people that were just a good laugh to be around, and didn't take themselves too seriously, and just were a pleasure to be around and make videos with and make content with. Um, but yeah, so yeah, there's been loads. It's one of those questions as well that people ask. It was like, oh, who's the best guest you ever met? And it's like after over 16 years, like you just forget, and you just think there were so many people that it all became a bit like I remember when I first started, there were people like I met Rio Ferdinand, like Michael Owen, and then I was like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I met these people that were like icons, and then like 10 years later, you're still meeting the same people, but you're just like you've met so many people, you forget.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a brilliant time, and I met so many lovely people along the way.
So I suppose when you started location football, you were overlapping a bit with Soccer
Yeah,
AM.
that's
So
the bit that
hmm,
probably people don't realize. So the and again, it goes into taking opportunities that you're given, or you have to create your own opportunities. So I was working. So Soccer M schedule was Tuesday to Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday overnight in a hotel, Saturday work.
yeah,
I would then go from Soccer AM on a Saturday and go and try and find a non-league game that I could get to within the right time to be able to create the video that we wanted to do. Do that till 6, 7 o'clock at night, maybe have a bit of Sunday off, and where we didn't work Monday, would edit the video
yeah,
for location football. So it was very much juggling two jobs overlapping at the same time, but was obviously with the plan that I never knew where location football would go. I didn't know we'd be able to make money out of it. I didn't know that we would be able to get brand deals and do little bits and bobs around it. I just wanted to make videos around non-league football, and if it went anywhere, brilliant. Um, but yeah, the graph we've and even now we put a lot of effort into everything. Me and Scott have meetings about like what the next video is going to be and what the script is going to look like, which we weren't able to do back in the day because we both just had two jobs. So we would, and I'd film them with Scott, and then I would go away and edit the long form video, and he'd cut down some shorter bits. So yeah, it is just dedication and hard work. And even now, it's like we look at it and we go, oh, we're just sort of scratching the surface, really, of what we want to achieve. Um, so we're just like yeah, taking it in our stride. But yeah, there was a lot of work and a lot of Tuesday night games as well. I'd finish work at whatever time on the Tuesday and then travel wherever I could to get to a game. So yeah, there was a lot of sacrifice, a lot of dedication. But like I was saying to someone earlier, it was like well, I felt like that if we put the hard work in, we would eventually get the rewards for it. And there are times definitely in YouTube, which is why you see some people start and then stop. It's that it's not an overnight success. It's not a quick, right, I've done this and why am I not getting views?
yeah,
We were not getting views that like we were doing it for the fun at the start, and you could get disheartened like you might have something that only gets 100 views or 200 views or 70 views. But we just kept plugging away, and then we kept learning and learning and learning. Like with 4.5, maybe 4.5 years, 5 years in, and now we're seeing the results of all the hard work and labor. And there's still room to go. There's still loads that we want to achieve with it. It just has now become it is still a hobby as much, but it's a small business. It's
yeah,
all registered. It's a small business that we're being asked to do work for people. We're getting work off the back of it. So yeah, my advice to anyone is doing the YouTube thing is you've got to stick at it because it's not overnight.
yeah. It's great, and you know, I suppose some of the fruits of that you can see with the Premier League feature you did last week with Stuart Pearce on the non-league day where you went to three different matches.
That's it.
Uh, characters like Jordan Ibe, I remember him at Liverpool bursting onto the scene, and then what happened
Yeah,
now but the one that I did like was the Adam Wharton doing the non-league dishes,
yeah.
non-league meals, raised.
Yeah, see that come from again, yeah. So you sort of touched on what we're sort of looking at. We try and find the stories within non-league that are relatable to not just that team. So, like you said there, Jordan Ibe, who has openly talked about his struggles with mental health and that how that affected him from being that, Premier League footballer with Liverpool and Bournemouth to then find himself down at Hungerford, having a few years out to look after himself, which is obviously very important. And it's how we bring those stories to life and sort of tell his journey. We did something similar in terms of Charlie Austin, who's playing at AFC Tottenham. We try and find those unique people, unique stories, and tell them and get the eyes on them because they're so interesting. It's not, and I'm not talking just about the Premier League footballers who now find themselves playing in non-league. Charlie Austin's coming to the back end of his career; he's down there, etc. But like we had a lad who plays step five, which is which is pretty low down the pyramid, but he scored 170 goals in 3 seasons. His name's Jake Tabor.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen
He
that
plays
one.
for Amersham, and that video for us has done nearly 350,000 views last time I checked. 1.2 million on TikTok.
Yeah,
But if we did a video just about the football club, people will probably lose interest and
yeah,
go, "Oh, why do I care about Amersham if I'm not an Amersham fan?" So we then have to. That's why we changed our style of videos. It's like, well, where are these interesting talking points? And it was him who's turned down EFL moves and he's turned down bits and bobs to stay with this team till the end of the season, where they can hopefully get £40,000 for him. So that's how we bring
yeah,
those stories to light. And then with like the Adam Wharton one, that was a that's an example of where myself and Scott work for. Scott's got his own production company, Social Ball Media, and I've been presenting for Utilita Energy for about 3 years now, where we go and create branded content separate to location football, separate. It's more like freelance work for me, but we have a good audience now, um, and we spoke to Utilita about how we can cross that over into what they do. We
yeah,
felt like just doing the challenge that we do with them, we could get some more short form content. And then for us and me and Scott, it was how do we make that relatable to non-league football? Um, and you'd have seen it at other Utilita ones we've been to where there's Joe Aribo at Southampton
yeah,
was playing for Staines Town and now he's in the Premier League. So we did a video with him about that short form content, which done really well. And then when we went to Palace, they didn't have anyone that was non-league, but we know how big Footy Scran is. We know how popular non-league football food is and football food in general. So we just thought we'd try that out as an idea with someone like Adam Wharton, an England international,
yeah.
and yeah, that done really well. So, and that's come through building of the brand of location football, is that we're able now to go to different brands and say, look, we can give you an extra bit of content for X amount of money to help boost your things. And like I say, that for what it cost them to pay us to do that, the rewards were they got quite I don't know how many quarter of a million views or however many views it was. No, they didn't have to do anything, and it's a reasonable amount. It's a fair price in terms of what they're getting. So yeah, that's the beauty. Again, that's the beauty of YouTube being able to have that platform that we've got to be able to sort of open it up to sell to people in terms of like where it fits. I wouldn't just do anything for the sake of it. Like you mentioned there, the Premier League non-league day. You're probably thinking, well, why is the Premier League getting involved with the non-league YouTube channel? Well, the whole thesis of it is that the Premier League have the stadium fund where they're investing into non-league grounds, and all these non-league teams can apply for funding to get new lights, new stadium stands, things like that. So it was a real nice collaboration, and yeah, I love it. I love YouTube. I love everything about it. I love where it's going and where it's taking us. We had someone from France message us the other week saying, would we go and do a video of a lad that was at Liverpool Academy, went English non-league football, and now he's finding himself playing in France. So there's so many stories out there, and we're just trying to find the ones that we can feasibly do.
There's loads, and I touched on Faversham Town earlier. I had a guy, sorry, playing up front for them, a guy called Daniel Thompson. He's now playing in the Baller League, um,
Right.
for the United team, and he
Yeah.
played last week. So, you know, he's 31, but he's obviously managed to pivot into that as well, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of
Hmm.
non-league players that are that are playing in the Baller League um, at the minute. Yeah, so it's interesting to see where that goes. I know it's on tonight as well, but it seems to got a mixed bag of reviews, obviously from the first few from the draft and all that. But I think the product's there, and I think what an opportunity for non-league players. I know loads who are in there that are taking the opportunity with both hands. Again, it's just they've been presented with it. It's gone Sky Sports. It's streamed on YouTube as well, and yeah, the level of football looks pretty good as well.
Different breed of football fans as well,
Different breed, yeah, exactly.
in fairness. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm a bit older now. I'm 39, so it's probably if they did a walking baller league, I'd be
Yeah,
right. uh, fair play to them, and it'd be interesting to see how that gets on, really. Just in terms of the National League and something that's sort of been talked about, the three up, three down. Do you think that's going to happen?
I think again, I was saying to this to someone earlier. I think it's more when it happens, not if it happens. I think it's something that needs to happen to increase the competitiveness of not just the National League, but the league above. I think, and I was at Bromley the other week, and I think they were saying that they'd welcome it. They'd welcome the three up, three down. They know what it's like to get out of that division, but also it might give a few of the clubs in the League Two a bit more of a shake up, just to wake them up to not just to be. I mean, no one's happy with just pottering along in the division, but if you don't, if it's only two that go down, and we could be at a position where they know they're not going to go down by March, early April, or whenever. I just think it will give that extra edge to not just the National League but also League Two, and I don't see why we wouldn't follow suit how the Championship and the format that is. Again, at the minute that the playoffs are so exciting in the National League at the minute, with even Southend are now creeping into it, who were months ago out of it and now back into it. So it does keep that excitement going. But I think it three up, two automatic and one playoff is a better way to go than just in swapping the current playoff format. Is brilliant in its own right now, and it's so unique. But you swap that straight away to go two automatic and one playoff, and top two go through, and then three, four, five, six have the usual playoff route. So yeah, I think it's a matter of when, not if. How long that's going to take, I haven't got a foggiest, but I'd very much welcome it. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, it just makes it, a bit more of an incentive for those, especially in the National League, to sort of have aspirations of playing league football as well. Not that the National League is a terrible, terrible league by any means. It's really competitive now. It's some
Oh, it's brilliant.
really good
Yeah,
football
football's
going on.
great.
And then Barnet look like they're going to get promoted, unless the wheels come off. Um,
I mean, Barnet are streets above what's going on at the minute. They've, not lost at home in over a year. They've not lost in the league since October. So there's no questions there whether they deserve to go up as champions. It's just who goes up with them. York City are another brilliant football side. I've been up there a few times to watch Adam Hinchelwood's side play. I was there for the Forest Green game presenting for the Zone. That was a good advert for the National League. And there's massive teams in there. Oldham, Rochdale, in with a shout as well. And Southend, one of the biggest supported side in the division. I think they had 8,500 there over the weekend when they beat Oldham. So yeah, there's some big clubs in the National League, and I just think that extra promotion spot would do a lot. And because we've seen it before, where clubs that have gone up from the National League don't come straight back down; they consolidate and they stay up there. I can't remember the last time someone went up and come back down again, but I'm pretty sure there's a fact out there that it's been a while. It's been a long time, and that just shows you how close the two divisions are. The jump isn't. It's not like going from League Two to the Championship, or a League One to the Championship. It's like it's the mini League Three. You know,
Yeah.
you've got every team in there, bar a couple of
Mm.
full time, and they are all playing at a very, very good level, which is why you see the transition from National League to League Two as Bromley mid-table. All right, got beat at the weekend against Salford, but they had hopes of playoffs. And Chesterfield, who have another massive football club. Um, so yeah, it's all positive down in the National League. But yeah, that extra promotion spot would do wonders.
Yeah, absolutely. And just sort of, I know you've got bits and bobs going on today, edits and that. Just in terms of the sort of plans for you for the next few months and the rest of the year, what are you sort of aiming at location football wise and elsewhere?
Yeah, it's probably the busiest part of the season, apart from the beginning of it, and Christmas, obviously. Now we're getting into sort of playoff territory and sort of looking at the schedules of what I've got on. As I mentioned, I've got the zone coverage coming in even more so now. As I said, I'm doing the multi-match live this week. Ipswich's game is on the Wednesday night in the Premier League. I've got that. And then we've got our Isuzu branded stuff for the Aldershot Woking game on Saturday. I'm currently editing a video from Dorking Wanderers versus Eastbourne Borough. So I'm doing that. I've got to try and get that sorted out for this week. We've got a video going out on the day of this recording from Hanworth Villa, where Paul Merson's son scored that absolute outrageous goal. We caught up with him two weeks after he scored that goal. We've got the video going out tonight from that, which is a belter. And then yeah, it's just looking ahead to the playoffs really, and catching as many games as we can. Location football works around sort of mine and Scott's schedule. Like I always try and put weekends in, but when you work for a Premier League football club and then you've got the zone coverage, which is also on the weekends, it can be difficult to navigate it sometimes. But it's one of my and thankfully it's all fallen that I can get plenty in. I'm doing stuff Easter Monday for the zone. It's yeah, there's a lot of National League coverage coming your way, and I'm involved in a lot of it, which is absolutely brilliant. So I'm very much excited for the end, and then also looking forward to the next season. We have the National League 72 podcast that we do, me and Erin. I think that's continuing throughout the summer. So we don't lose that National League interest. We're going to try and catch up with clubs and see what they do in the off season and how, because they finish a little bit earlier, don't they? So they'll be back probably by mid-June. The non-league players. We've got the playoff final early June as well. So there's so much to look forward to. And in terms of the channel, we just want to keep growing it and keep putting eyes out there and making people aware of how brilliant the lower levels are. And we've proven through our numbers and views that it's not just the high end teams in the National League. You look at, the Premier League stuff sells in when people do YouTube, anything that topical Arsenal, Man United, Man City. And like you would think, and in National League terms, you would look at, oh, do the National League team videos are they a watered down version of that? We did a video at Barnet where they've got big support. They've got 10, 15, 20,000 followers. And we did a video that's done quite well. We've done all right. But then we've done games, like I said earlier, step five, that have blown that out of the water.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of the lower levels, is that you don't have to rely on like the big teams in that level. You can go down as low as step five, step
Yeah.
six, and still make a really engaging, interesting video. And hopefully our aim is that we can get more people going to support their local club because they need it more than ever. They need help. Um, they need funding. They need, to improve and become better. And location football is built to be that platform where we can showcase the amazing people and the amazing stuff that goes on at the lower levels. Obviously, we can't get to every game, can't get to every team, but we try and create videos that clubs can take bits from. And oh,
Yeah.
that's how they're doing it. Oh, amazing! And if they can take a little bit of information, like the video we did with Harry Hugo at Farnham Town, we've had so many messages from CEOs and directors of football at these non-league clubs go, I watched that video and it was really interesting to see how they did this, and this.
Yeah.
And our Dorking video from Eastbourne game is of a similar ilk with their CEO, Jonathan Bynes. So, and obviously Mark White's in it as well because he's brilliant. But yeah, it's all very exciting, mate. Looking forward to pushing non-league football out there even more.
Yeah. Well, best of luck with it all, Curly. And thanks for your time this morning. It's been a pleasure to have you on. Uh, like and subscribe to Hey Joe. Go and check out Location Football as well. And we'll see you soon.